Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power, and coming up next on The Sound of Tomorrow on WAYO-LP Rochester. We're going to be talking statistics. We're going to be talking politics. And we have a few tips on spring cleaning. But first,
Oh, thanks so much for giving me a couple minutes there, Heather.
no worries, Ross. I so understand. We're about to record it, and then you get so excited you just have to go poop. Happens to the best of us.
Oh, no, I didn't have to go poop.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, I did, but I also had another big thing to take care of.
Pee.
No, can we stop with the bathroom talk, please?
Oh, shoot. Really? Because that's actually all I have for the show today.
Okay, well, that's usual. But okay, for now, okay, I have something really exciting to share with you.
Oh, it's not your poop, is it? 'Cause thank you, but no.
Heather, with the bathroom talk. Hold it.
Okay, Ross. I'll hold it.
Ugh. Anyway, may I tell you now what it is I'd like to share with you?
Okay, yes. I am excited. What's the news?
Okay, I just completed my first speed writing assignment given by my latest mentor on the mystery writing subgroup Mysterious Whisper on litheandlissom.com.
A new mentor? Oh, what about old Randy McCroskins?
You mean Russell McCreely, aka Creepy Uncle Russ? No way, I blocked his messages and everything. But remember, he DM'd me, you know?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, now I'm back in the sweet protection of litheandlissom.com.
Well, that's one good reason you pay him, I guess.
I'm glad you're finally seeing the value.
Somewhat. But go on. A new mentor. Speed writing.
Yes, so I'm currently being mentored by the legendary April Suit.
April shower suit.
Yes, author of such tales as Pierced to the Root.
Oh, no. I'm not going to get any of them, but April shower suit. Like, is that their real name?
Oh, dear sweet, naive Heather. My God. I mean, just really, even talking to you sometimes, it's too much. I can't even do it. It's wearing, you know? Have you never heard of a nom de plume?
Okay, so it's a Chaucer-inspired pen name.
What?
Like the Canterbury Tales. When that April with his sure suit, the dracht of March hath parted to the rote, and bathed every vein in such liquor, of which virtue engendered is the floor.
Huh. Well, I guess it is. I don't know. Seems you're better read than I thought.
Nah, remember I just had to memorize that in college?
Oh my God, you went to college? Really?
Ugh. Okay,
Seriously?
just go on. You're working with this April Shoes suit person, and
You paid for college. I can't get over it. Okay.
no, my parents
Yes.
paid for
Well,
it.
regardless, did they ask for a refund? Because,
They should.
no, I mean, yeah, but you know, well, Muck Sure Suit was telling me that I could try some speed writing to help me overcome my latest bout of writer's block, and I am just thrilled. I've hardly written a line in months, Heather, I tell you, but suddenly a short idea came to me like a bolt of lightning, and I had to capture it as quickly as I could before it flitted away.
Oh, that's why you got that strained look on your face right before you said you needed a minute and bolted away from your mic?
Well, that, and I had to poop as well.
I knew it.
But Heather, you need to get your mind out of the bathroom and back onto my writing career because I really think I've got something here, and I want to hear your opinion.
Of course, Ross. You know I love to hear your work.
It is cute of you to lie, but we all know you're highly critical and tend to pick apart my every idea.
Only because you continue to expropriate my name and likeness for your ideas.
And this time is no different. Heather, are you ready to hear the latest installment of my Heather Zykowski Girl Detective series?
Oh boy.
What's that?
I said, oh joy.
Good. Now keep in mind, this is speed writing, so it's just a short vignette.
Thank God, particle for small favors.
What?
I said, in good articles are small palavers.
Excellent. With that, Heather, may I present to you Heather Zykowski, Girl Detective, in the case of the missing avocado.
Oh boy.
What?
Oh, I said, oh joy, but louder.
Did you?
Yeah.
Ha!
Anyway, go on. I know you want to, and I have nowhere else to be.
Excellent. Ahem. Crystalline flagon of gin, gripped tight in one withered, desiccated claw. Heather Zykowski, girl detective, paced stiffly across the worn floors of her century-old foursquare, tight-muscled traversing from wood to tile as befits the lower surface of her tiny kitchen. The 58-year-old girl. Nothing on that?
No, no. I feel about 78 these days, so 58 is like hitting the fountain of youth.
Oh. Okay, because you usually like to yell at me that you're not even 50 yet.
Nah, I'm like 90.
Oh. Are you doing okay? I mean,
Oh, yeah, no, fine, no. Hey, go on, why don't you? I want to hear what you wrote.
okay. A 58-year-old girl gazes upon the merely decorative bowl of fruit, for all are aware, well known it is that Heather Zykowski, girl detective, subsists only upon gulps of air and swigs of gin, and something catches her rheumed, age-bleary yet still keen observant girl detective eye. Wait! She raspily exclaims to her boon companion, the newly three-fanged and deaf from birth elderly white feline, Nigel, aka MC Three Fangs. I bought 3 avocados at Tops today, but there are only 2! Where the hell is the other one? Despite her advanced age, the girl detective fancies herself a millennial gourmand and therefore too frequently purchases the luxury fruit in futile hopes of preparing a repast of avocado toast. The toast? Never is it made. The avocados? Food for compost worms. As soon will be the tired, delicate body of the aged girl. Still nothing? Not even with the worms bit? Or just.
Meh, nah, the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle on your snout. Yeah, such
Huh.
is life.
And are you sure you're okay?
As okay as I'm getting, so let's get this story back on track. I was promised it's short.
Short and sweet, just like you.
Aw, but okay, read.
Okay. Though feeble of body and mind, Jin swirled the girl detective's years of mystery solving savvy, sharply pricked and snagging the keys to her ancient subcompact sedan on a slim, sharpened talon. Heather Zykowski marched slowly and carefully from her home across the jagged and rain slicked patio. Roughly forcing open the trunk of her rusty, battered jalopy, she espied it. Alligator green hide shining against the dull, worn, gray carpeting. The missing avocado! She cackles in triumph. Ha! There you are! She says, that's how she talks, lovingly cradling the errant delicacy. She clicks closed the auto compartment and picks her way across the uneven bricklets. Back to warmth. Back to gin. Back to her beloved feline Three Fangs. Back inside. So, what do you think? What?
Ross,
Well, no, really, what do you think?
I mean, is the speed writing just an exercise, or are you supposed to come up with an original idea for it?
Okay, this is my original idea. Of course, Heather, how dare you? And also, what are you getting at?
But I just told you how I went to Tops earlier and avocados were 3 for 5, and then I only had 2, but the other one was in my trunk.
You did?
Yes, right before you said you had to go poop.
Okay, well, I didn't say I had to go poop.
Well, before you got that look and said you needed a minute, but that's not the point.
Okay, now look who doesn't want to talk about bathroom stuff.
No, because I told you a dumb story from my day, and now you're going and saying it's your original idea.
But I totally made all of this up.
No, you didn't. I was just saying this, and I know you heard every word.
Well, I saw that your mouth was moving and I could hear some sounds, but truly, honestly, just being real, you talk a lot, and I cannot possibly be expected to catch every single word when I have these writing exercises on my mind.
Hmm. Fair, I guess. I mean, I do talk a lot.
You do.
So do you, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's radio. We kind of have to. You got to fill the time,
I guess we do.
Yeah.
Suppose we should.
Gotta load up
Hmm.
this hour.
Right.
That's how they get you.
That's how we get them.
Yeah. Stupid listeners. Hey, everybody. I'm Ross Johnson, your favorite co host.
And I'm Heather Zykowski, the babe of the power. Welcome back to another exciting episode of The Sound of Tomorrow on WAYO LP Rochester.
The place with the music and the people where they talk.
That is the slogan. I am so surprised they actually went for that. WAYO's pretty classy, and I didn't think they
Yeah.
would take ours. That's just kind of a weird, clunky thing that we say because we use too many words. But I'm
I got
proud. I'm proud that they did.
the t-shirt.
The writing wraps all the way around. Like it's just
It's really
entirely around
stupid.
your
Yeah,
body.
it's incredibly poorly designed.
Which, again, surprising for WAYO. I don't know why they let us do the t-shirt design as well.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You want to start out with some good news, uncharacteristically?
I so want to start out with some good news.
All right, let's start out with some good news. We got a bunch of crap to talk about today, like we normally
Oh,
do.
yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get from minute to minute. We don't know either. This whole show it's like if you're on a bike and you're going downhill and you feel like you're just barely hanging on. That's how it is to
Yes,
do it. That's how it's to listen to it.
that's right.
And if you fall off, nothing really happens. You just get really bored. So it's not, there aren't high stakes, but so the global COVID situation remains not great, but
Yeah.
however, in the United States, we are doing 2.26 million COVID vaccine doses a day, which sounds good to me. And we've had the lowest new cases in almost a year, so we're actually maybe have sort of crested the work. I mean, we've actually seen a reduction like we haven't seen in like I said, almost a year. And New York, if you are listening in New York, as many of you are, is right near the top of the sort of fully vaccinated list. We're at around 40%, which is like not the highest of the high, but it's up there. It's in sort of the top tier, and that's people who are like fully vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it'd be nice if it were higher, but if we're giving out a couple 3 million doses a day, that's pretty good. Go
That
us.
is really good. Yeah. And you and I are now amongst those fully vaccinated people.
It's true. It's true.
As of last week.
You are still do not have my consent to touch me or
Oh
any
my
of my
gosh,
stuff.
I can't wait. I'm so going to touch you when I see you.
I have to give you consent, which I probably will, because you're relentless.
I
But you
am.
can't
I'm
touch me
I'm
or my stuff
relentless. I'm
until you have consent.
persistent.
Yeah.
All right, that's true. That's true. I
Yeah.
will ask.
Them's the
Um,
rules, Heather.
yeah, so ever since I became vaccinated on Tuesday of last week, it's just been nonstop whirlwind adventure here.
Okay.
So can I tell you my adventure story?
Yes.
All
If
right.
it's remember, if we fall off the bike, everybody gets
Yes.
bored. So don't fall off the bike, Heather.
I'm going to try not to. To me, this is
All right.
fascinating. So, friend of mine, friend of yours, friend of the show, Michael Polston is also fully vaccinated. And we had been talking before our vaccines really were kicking in about how it would be fun to travel. It would be so nice to go on vacation. It's been a million years. And so it kind of was like, well, I don't know. You can come here. I got the guest room and everything. Why not? There's stuff to do in Rochester or not. Because we weren't really sure, how we were going to feel about doing things. But so
Yeah.
naturally, when I have a house guest, I want to get the house all nice and clean everything, make everything really comfy and good. So as part of this, I was washing my bedding. And so ran the sheets through the wash, ran them through the dryer. I'm taking the sheets out of the dryer and I hear something go click, clack on the floor. And I look, it's an animal fang. And so I'm turning it over
Because
in
you've
my
been
hands.
attacked.
Right. I'm like, and I'm thinking how how did this animal fang get in the dryer? Like, did something die in my dryer? Like, what's going on? And then, of course, I realized, Occam's razor, the simplest shaving solution, it's probably a fang from the animal that lives with me.
Oh,
So
I
I,
was gonna say yours was the most.
no,
So you actually went
um,
with the second most obvious explanation.
yeah, well, I knew it wasn't a human fang. Mine don't look like that.
Huh. Do they
Yeah,
not?
they
Okay.
don't. No, I'm very
I'm
familiar with
gonna let
them.
you have that.
You forget, I am
Sure.
obsessed with brushing and flossing and oral hygiene. Um,
Oh, that's
but
true.
so then I go running upstairs and I pry open Nigel's mouth. And yes, he is missing his lower right fang.
Oh.
So I'm terrified for him. And I'm also realizing this explains why the night before, he, for the first time in his life, attacked me pretty viciously
Hmm.
and bit my hand harder than he's ever bitten me. It was a gigantic puncture wound. And I was already kind of like during all this, I was worried I didn't get why he like attacked me like that because, I pet him too much and he snaps his teeth at me. Nothing big. But this was
Yeah.
really a legit, like, huge puncture wound in my hand. I tried to do like some serious first aid. But so at this point now, Nigel's missing a fang, and I'm wondering if I need to go to emergency care
Right.
because you never know with an animal bite, like, no matter how well you flush it and alcohol it and like Neosporin and Band-Aid, is that enough to
Yeah.
clean an animal bite? So, he looks fine. He's acting fine. He's eating fine. He did not appreciate that I pried his mouth open to look at,
He's just super mad at you for
yeah.
not being
Well,
missing a
even now,
tooth.
yeah, all I can think is maybe when I was carrying him up for bed Monday night, he was, like, uncomfortable because it was shifting,
Yeah.
and that's why he lashed out at me. I really don't know, but it was definitely, like, not characteristic behavior. So, I just called the vet because he looked fine, there didn't seem to be anything wrong. I heard back from the vet. The vet had no concerns as long as he was, like, moving and eating and drinking and all that good stuff. So I was like, "All right, I guess Kitty's okay. I hope I'm okay." I consulted Doctor Google because that's the only doctor I can really afford to go to, unless I
Sure.
absolutely must, about, like, when to seek medical attention for an animal bite.
Yeah.
But so, the day after all of this, I'm fully vaccinated. I leave my 3 fang cat at home, slap a clean Band-Aid on my puncture wound, and I'm off to the airport to pick up Michael. And it was really, really funny because for all of the talk we did beforehand about, like, I don't know how comfortable I am, going to, like, stores or restaurants, and, we both agreed on this, like, we might not do this. We might just, like,
Yep.
hang out on the patio and pretend that's, like, a park or something. Um, I strode right in that airport, no problem. He'd forgotten something, we went to, like, 5 different stores after that and then went out for lunch. So, like, my entire last week was absolute, like, gallivanting,
Wow.
shopping and taking walks and going out to eat at restaurants,
But you're
and
going
it
to
was really
stores. I mean,
fantastic.
you've been going to stores, so really the restaurant was like the big thing, right?
W Kind of the main stores I've been going to are stores that I've deemed necessary, like the hardware store on occasion for things I needed to make a repair or like do some kind of project in my home,
Oh, okay.
and definitely the grocery store. But like we went over to this flea market area with just like all different vendors and stalls and stuff. And
Hmm.
that kind of shopping, I've done barely any of the just kind of fun. Oh, I'm going to
Yeah.
pop in this store and look at these things and maybe I can find something cute. I don't know. So this was
Good
more
for
like flea
you.
markets and comic book shops and like we went to this pottery place that I didn't even know it was there. So I have been going to stores, but like I said, more things that in my mind I can justify for like, ugh, I need to repair this thing, so I need this tool to do it. So all right, I'll go to the hardware store.
That's
But it
exciting.
was very exciting. We even
I'm
had
still
people over for a fire, which you and your husband did not come to, nor did you return my messages inviting you
correct.
to it.
Well, I told you I wasn't going, so I thought that was enough, but I thought that was
I
sufficient,
think
but
I think
um
last we talked you said that you may or may not.
well, I
No,
may
we
not.
get it. Everybody gets
Um
it.
um no, I mean that's good. That's it's good. I'm I guess I'm in a vindictive phase of this. I think that's where I am right now is like in a slightly vindictive phase of this where um like I was out for a walk with the dogs the other day in the at good old Mount Hope Cemetery. Probably
Mhm.
shouldn't say that because our swarms of listeners will try to find me there.
They
Um,
will. They'll figure out your schedule and they'll try to get your dog's autographs.
they mostly hang out in the cemetery. Those anyway, so it's it's not hard to find Son of Tomorrow listeners, but and like 2/3 of them are dead, so it's not it's not really hard at all. But um, and people were sort of it's like a big place. It's not that even when it's crowded. I mean, it's such a big place that it's easy to avoid people, which is why it's been all
Mhm.
through this has been a good place to go walk the dogs. Um, and I'll sort of have my mask with me. But for the most part, it's sort of like you don't feel like it's entirely necessary because you can just stay away from people. And people are getting bolder. There weren't anybody. There weren't a lot of people there, but there was this like crowd of people that I sort of changed course to avoid just because I feel like I'm still avoiding people. I'm not, eh,
Mhm.
you know, people don't know that I'm vaccinated. I don't know that they're vaccinated. It's
Yeah.
just, I feel like it's okay to continue to do that. And they all sort of
I'm
swerved
never
and
going
then
to stop.
spread
This
out.
is the excuse I've always wanted.
Yeah, no, exactly. And they sort of swerved and spread out and then like swarmed me on all sides, like not intent, not like coming after me, just going that way. And I was like, I just feel like I'm not at the point yet. And I wasn't scared. I mean, I was like, scientifically, this is fine. Like, I'm fully vaccinated. I could have thrown a mask on, but I didn't. Um, but I sort of feel like it's courtesy at this point to respect that
Mhm.
you don't know people's vaccination status. Um, they don't know your vaccination status. I feel like
Mhm.
it's still, we're still in the middle of this and,
Yes.
we still have a really high portion of people in the US who either aren't vaccinated just because they haven't been able to yet or are
Mhm.
refusing to get vaccinated. We've got a global situation where this has not slowed down in certain places. And, we live in a shipping tourism community. We're a global world. So it's not, it's the fact that we're doing well in the United States, but not doing well in other places means that we could not be doing well in the United States. And I'm not trying to be negative. Like, I think things are trending well. People are getting vaccinated. It's good, at least in the United States. I think we're doing really well. Um, but I guess my point with all this is like maybe still be respectful of the fact that people are not necessarily. I'm seeing a lot of even online, a lot of like, oh, I saw somebody outside wearing their mask and they're outside, and Dr. Fauci says we don't have to want it, which is another level of like, don't police what people are doing. Like,
No.
if someone's wearing a mask because they're nervous about COVID, if someone's wearing a mask because they feel like wearing a mask,
Right.
don't you don't need to be. I've seen a lot of like social media, either from people, either from acquaintances or just like random sort of things about like people being snotty about like, oh, Zen says wearing a mask. I saw somebody wearing a mask in a park. What's up with that? And it's like, what? It's none of your freaking business.
Right.
My,
Let them wear their mask. And you and I
yeah,
have even talked about this, how there are going to be people who might want to wear a mask forever.
yeah,
Let them. I might be one. I realized, last week we were taking a lot of walks and stuff. I think just outside when we would get near people,
hmm,
we'd put masks on. And sometimes if we were going to like a more crowded street, we'd just like wear our masks right down the street, even though Michael and I are both fully vaccinated. And we were doing the thing where you're coming up to somebody on the sidewalk and you kind of dart
mm,
off the sidewalk to get 6 feet away. And I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm fully vaccinated. Maybe there's no more need for me to do that, but it's my urge, it's my want.
Well, and I feel like
It doesn't
people
bother
people
me.
d- I feel like people don't know that I'm fully vaccinated. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right, there's
if
no way to
someone
know. It's
sees
not like I walk around with my card up like this.
right, right. So, I feel like for me doing that is sort of is even if I'm not so nervous about it anymore, um I just feel like it's a courtesy for people who don't
Mhm.
know that I'm vaccinated. And it doesn't hurt anything, it doesn't hurt me, it doesn't bother me.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, what we've learned from this, we saw the huge reduction in flu
Right.
contraction and death over this past year. I mean, if people want to wear masks on a more regular, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that in the future. I'm not, I'm
Mhm.
not a good case study because I not to toot my own horn, but I just don't get sick a lot. I don't get super sick. Maybe that'll change. Who knows? I mean, I could, I'm not, I'll get little colds, but I'm not somebody who gets like sick where I'm in bed. I don't get the really horrible I just tend not to. And again, I should knock on wood when I say that. So I don't think along those lines, but the seasonal flu still, it kills like 20,000
Mhm.
people in a year. I mean, and
Yes.
that's nothing compared to COVID, but that's still a lot of people. So if we're
Yes.
wearing masks during the winter and washing our hands more, I mean,
I
even
feel
if
fine
you save a
about it.
few people doing that,
Well, and
it's
like even less for the just the general good. To be selfish, I've said to a few people who are like, "Oh, well, I hate wearing these masks. I can't wait till we're done with the masks." And I'm like, I might really keep wearing one to a lot of different places because I don't want a common cold.
yeah,
I know I'm not going to perish most likely from a common cold. Doesn't mean I want those sniffles
yeah,
and maybe that annoying cough that you get with just a silly little cold. And
yeah.
like you said, I don't know how I'm going to feel about certain things like once we can go to concerts again. Am I or go out dancing with our friends? Am I going to want to wear a mask then? Uh but to the store, that's fine.
Well,
Into a
and it's a
restaurant and then you sit down at the table and you're 6 feet away from other people, I'm fine with it.
yeah, well, and it's important too. I mean, people try to make it an all or nothing thing, and since you can't be 100% safe, it's almost like the argument is like, since you can't be 100% safe, you shouldn't bother to do anything that helps other people or yourself. I mean, there's no 100% way to prevent a cold or a flu. There's no 100% way to prevent a slip and fall accident. There's no 100% way
Right.
to prevent an auto accident. Um, you know, but occasionally, and again, like I said, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, but occasionally wearing masks, if people are occasionally wearing masks at the height of cold and flu season, it is going to turn that statistical dial. I mean,
Mhm.
you might not see the life that's saved or the person who doesn't get sick. It may or may not be you, but if people are doing that even occasionally, it's gonna, the grocery store, people are crowded in. There's nothing fun about the grocery store. You don't need to you don't need to expose your face in the grocery store. If at the height
Right.
of cold and flu season more people are wearing masks in the grocery store, that's going to save some lives. And again, you can't, yes, we acknowledge that we can't save every life. You can't prevent every, sickness or disease. Um,
Mhm.
and to some extent, it's not entirely unreasonable to draw a line of like, yes, I'm not going to encase myself in a hermetically sealed air bubble,
Mhm.
just on the off chance that I'll get sick. But these little things, doing them even occasionally or a little more, again, they sort of move that statistical needle, and that translates into people who don't get sick and or possibly die. So it's, the point
Mhm.
being, if people decide to wear masks a little more often, particularly during the height of cold and flu season or whenever the hell they want, honestly,
Right.
because it's none of my
I think
business,
so.
that's not the worst thing in the world, and it's not. And to attack people for it is just, I don't know. It's
I know. I'm still at the point where I wanna snap at people for not wearing masks when there's a place that it's mandated. Like when I go to the store and whatnot. It's clearly posted that you're supposed to be wearing a mask in there, so I feel like they really should be.
Yeah.
And so that's where I start getting upset. When I see someone outside wearing a mask, I'm fine with that. When I see someone outside not wearing one, I'm a little bit like, and then I'm like, it's probably fine. It's probably calm,
Yeah.
calm.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I don't know that I feel like at this point, especially, I have anything to say, but, um, so yeah, anyway,
I can be
like,
such a rules follower that I still get mad at
right.
the store because I'm like, hey, it says on the door, no mask, no service. Put one on.
Well, and again, they're just, again, I don't know who's not wearing a mask because they're not vaccinated versus, or who's not wearing a mask because they are vaccinated versus someone who's not wearing a mask because they refuse to wear a mask and they refuse to get
Yeah,
vaccinated. I mean, I know somebody who's like, was going to the dentist and found out their dental hygienist was like refusing to would not get vaccinated, and that like a portion of the people, and I'm not saying where the place is and I don't know where the place is, I just was telling me the story about where they were going, so this is not my dentist as far as I know, but was saying that like a portion of the staff were like, oh no, it's voluntary, we're refusing to get, and he wound up kind of throwing a I don't want to say throwing a fit, but like he was like, he was basically like, are you kidding me? You are medical professionals
yeah.
and you're refusing to get vaccinated because for no reason, then you don't feel like it. And he's like, I don't
Oh,
really want to get my teeth cleaned right now, even though he is fully vaccinated. He's like, it was partially a legitimate concern, partially a matter of principle. Like, and
right,
like I was saying in relation to the story, like, what else don't you what other matters of medical science do you not believe in washing your hands? Do you not believe in wearing gloves? I mean, what
right,
other things do you consider optional at that point? It makes me question your medical judgment,
right.
and your hygiene and your sanitation to be in my mouth. So I don't blame him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I will admit, my hygienist was talking about the feeling of relief she had once she was fully vaccinated and
Hmm.
how she felt safer for herself, for her patients. And for me, like I had, this that made me feel even more comfortable. I really
Hmm.
like my dentist, my hygienist, and
Yeah, of
everything. I'm,
course.
I'm quite fond of them. But it made me feel reassured, like excellent. There's science going on here, there's medicine going on here. Because you're right. If people in the medical community apparently don't understand anything about how vaccines work and why they're important,
Yeah.
then it's like,
It.
wait, I'm just a citizen. Like I'm not a medical professional at all. And even I kind of have like a grasp on this.
Yeah. Well, it's purely,
And
and it's purely anecdotal, the stories I hear. So I don't know what the statistics are, or if there are reliable statistics on it, but the number of medical professionals that I'm seeing that are just like, nope, I'm not doing it. I don't want to. It's bad. I could get, it's like, I don't understand.
I don't either. And even the veterinarian I take Three Fang to is vaccinated against rabies because he's a medical professional and understands that he is at risk of getting certain diseases and could get vaccinated against them so he doesn't get them.
Right.
And talk about a vaccination program that's no fun. From what I understand, getting vaccinated against rabies, no fun.
I think it's gotten better, I've heard. I think
Has
it used to be
it?
no, I think it used to be no fun, but now it's just kind of a shot. I could be wrong about that,
Ooh,
but yeah.
interesting. I don't know. I'd love to collect them all.
Yeah. I
Collect all
don't,
the vaccines.
yeah, I'm fine with it. And,
Yeah.
they're, I don't want to make light of it,
Yeah.
of course. You don't want to be, you don't necessarily want to be a test subject, but when, vaccines are, this is centuries old science that's only been refined. I mean, people act like it's the people acting like it's witchcraft. I
Yeah. That's very strange.
when you're in when you're in a medical field, again, it
Yeah.
makes me question like what else aren't you,
Right.
do you not believe in antibiotics? Do you not believe, like, what else are you,
Yeah.
you
Do you
know,
not believe in germ theory? Do you not believe in
right,
contagion?
right.
And
Again,
these, again, are just things that layperson me I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a hygienist. Even I like think about these things.
Well, even the modern versions of these vaccines, like with COVID, we're talking about mostly the mRNA vaccines. You can't. A normal layperson can't get knowledgeable enough where they're sitting making them in their basement, but you can read up. I mean, you can. It's not hard. I mean,
Right.
I spent when they first started talking about these, I spent like 20 minutes reading some
Mm-hmm.
reliable sourced science articles just to give me like a concept of what it meant. And it was like, okay, I get it. And sort of how it relates to the history of vaccines. So again, it's not like they just invented vaccines. This is all reasonable and reliable. And again,
Yeah.
it flabbergasts me. But
Yep. Yeah.
what are you
I
going to do?
had an experience at the store the other week that, of course, made me really angry because I've seen this person before. And it was quite a while ago before vaccine rollout was really a thing.
Hmm.
And I'm going to make an assumption. This person seems to present as a woman, an
Okay.
old woman with short gray hair.
Okay.
And I know exactly what her face looks like because she was like proudly, smugly, and defiantly not wearing a mask.
Ugh.
And this was months ago. And I was so mad.
Yeah.
I know I was muttering under my breath. Um, but she was far enough away that she couldn't hear me. And hopefully she did see me glaring over my mask. Because again, this was a store where no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no
Yeah.
service. Like you need to be wearing certain articles of clothing to enter this store. She was
Yeah.
not. I wish they'd kept her out. The other day, and I wasn't quite fully vaccinated yet, but I will admit I was not nearly as actually frightened to be near her as I would have been had I not been like 3 days out from fully vaccinated. Because
Yeah.
there she is. She comes up behind me in line. No mask. I can see her stupid, smug face. And I glared at her and I said, "Oh, you again." That was like a weird thing to say.
It was a weird thing to say. I like it though. That's a good that's a good well, and it's it's the you know, you're endangering yourself, you're endangering the people in the store. And even if you don't care about any of that, I mean, for me, it's just a matter of like, okay, if I'm going into a store with rules, I'm going to follow the rules because it's putting the store in a really bad position. I mean, me just being a jerk and going, I don't have to wear shoes. What are you going to do? You're going to make me?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, oh no, I'm going to put on shoes. I mean, it's not that hard, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
rule, and in this case, it's the law. It puts, you know, it puts some guy making minimum wage at the cash
Yeah.
register or in the security office in a bad position of having to
Right.
throw out some old lady potentially, which they don't seem to be doing, which is too bad. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, I have to say, it's really, there are a lot of people who've done exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Um, and not necessarily, and we've both said, I think we're both in the same boat, and not particularly out of fear for myself. I've never had not that I couldn't have gotten COVID, not that I couldn't get COVID. But I've never had that particular terror of, again, I don't tend to get super sick. I'm not, I don't have health issues. I'm not, in the age bracket where it's a big concern. But I didn't want to be spreading this thing around.
Right. And I
So
wanted to
I
be
was,
respectful.
yeah. So I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, and a lot of people were. So I have to remember that, and that gives me a little bit of hope too. An awful lot of people were
Hmm.
disrupting their lives, disrupting their families, disrupting their things to do sort of the right thing, even though it was, it's been very difficult. Um, but it's still an awful lot of people who've just not just refused and not just like, oh, well, I'm skirting the rules because blah, 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 or that, just like defiant and want to tell you how
Hmm.
stupid you are and what a jerk you are for even trying to save other people's lives. That's been really disheartening. I mean, that is really,
Yeah.
and it's galling. It's galling when you're doing the right thing according to, according to all the science, when you're doing exactly what you need to be doing to try to put an end to this thing and just try to save as many lives as my little contribution can,
Hmm.
including potentially my family, including potentially my own. But again, for me, it was really more about not being a passive carrier of something was my mindset.
Hmm.
And then people are like, "No, I don't care. What are you going to do? You're stupid. Why are you doing that?" And it's like, well, I'm having to do this for longer and more because you're refusing.
Yeah. And
That
I
it's
definitely like the woman behind me at the grocery store. I was so mad at her because I knew after me, she was going to come right up there and talk to the cashier.
yeah.
And this poor cashier can either make a scene and call security and say, like, this person isn't wearing a mask. I refuse to serve this customer. But they're not going to do it because it's the
No,
grocery store. And
and if
why
they
should
did,
they
it's
go through all
potentially
that
their last
hassle?
day. If the store's not
Yeah.
enforcing it, are they going to
Yeah.
lose their
So,
job for?
right. So then they're just going to ring them up. But, like, just follow the rules. It did feel very weird last week to be sitting at a restaurant, like, with just my whole face out, ordering
Yeah,
food and stuff.
yeah,
It seemed strange.
yeah.
I did
It'll
notice, and
seem strange.
I don't know if this is a change. I feel like often when I'm in a restaurant, like in the before times,
Mhm.
it was more frequent than not to hear people being very, very nice to the servers. But because I'm not used to hearing other people anymore, I'm not used to being out in a crowd where there are people having conversations. I couldn't help but pick up on what people were saying. And everybody at the restaurants that I heard was being so nice to the servers, and it makes me wonder if now people are going to be nicer. Maybe they were always that nice, but now that we can be
Yeah,
out and there's actually, like, people bringing us food, because everyone was, just so sweet, and all of the servers were also very sweet.
well, I
Maybe
hope
it's the
so.
relief that, like, we can go to a restaurant now even though it's kind of strange, and you have to be careful to not get up without your mask. I'll admit, I have to confess, I was a mask denier for a moment. I felt so embarrassed when I realized, but I did that thing where I was like, "Oh, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go to the ladies' room real quick." And then I was coming out of the ladies' room and I was like, "I didn't put on my mask." And so, like, I skittered back to the table. I was like, "Oh, I didn't wear a mask. Ah, no."
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get out of the habit. But
Right.
hopefully, we'll
Yeah,
have
and
the
I think
chance
I'd
to.
done the bad thing about, like, I put my mask away in my purse.
Mhm.
I kinda learned leave it out, like, on the table with my phone, which it's also rude to have my phone on the table, but I don't think people put phones away as much as they should. I know I don't,
Mhm.
but I felt bad about that. Still, it
Well,
was fun. I had a lot of good
yeah,
food.
it's fun running to the bathroom.
So Ross, you know what? On a hard segue here, but this is kind of fun to talk about. You know what season it is?
No.
It's spring cleaning season.
Okay.
And I have an article here from NPR. It's by Todd Bookman. It's entitled Goodwill Doesn't Want Your Broken Toaster. It's a little reminder to all of us who really want to do the right thing and try to donate, reuse, recycle. Try not to give actual garbage to Goodwill.
Yeah, I feel like that's a. I saw that article. I didn't read it, and I feel like that is a. I feel like there are people in my family who would argue strenuously that as long as they're not throwing it away, it's fine, and they can
Yes,
just. And it's like if you're giving to wherever you're giving, and there are different sort of philosophies about who's good to give to and who's not good to give to, et cetera, et cetera. Um, a lot of times your stuff, and unfortunately, it's sort of modern design. It's sort of planned obsolescence. Like a lot of your stuff is just garbage. Like,
right.
and yeah, if you have broken things or things that are, um, you know, if you know someone who wants your broken toaster who can fix your broken toaster, great. But
Mm-hmm.
Goodwill, can't sell your broken toaster or your broken glass or I've seen because we've done a few Goodwill runs over the years, and you'll see the stuff that's sort of piled up in the back, and it's like people clearly brought you like bags of garbage, pretty much.
Yes. Yep,
And it's like you're
literally.
just
In
it's
the
just throw it away.
article, yep, in the article they have Heather Steves, who's a spokesperson for 30 Goodwill locations in New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont. And she held up a lampshade that's stained and disgusting and literally falling apart.
Yeah.
And some other examples of stuff that was donated for resale is a small table missing a leg, some cracked purple food storage containers, and a used sponge. And so this article was, of course, there was some statistical data on like how much it costs charity donations to go and throw out your garbage for you. But
Yeah.
it's mainly the reminder to take as objective as you can a look at the thing that you're donating and maybe even think like, if I needed one of these, would I buy this?
Yeah.
Because I
Well,
know there's stuff
yeah.
I've donated that is very good. Like, this dress is perfectly whole. It just never quite fit me right. And I never wear it. But then there's also the like, well, the zipper's broken on this dress and the hem fell out, but someone could repair it. And it's like, one of them Goodwill can just sell. The other one, maybe I want to think twice about whether to donate it or maybe like give it to someone who can fix it for themselves or something.
Well, that's it. If you truly care about the charity that you're donating to, um, maybe think about whether you're costing them more money than you're benefiting them by giving them garbage. Yeah, that's. I think there's a psychology to that of people who feel bad about throwing things away, but they don't. I will say again, there's someone very dear to me in my immediate family who will give me literal garbage rather
Yes.
than throw it away because it's better than throwing it away. I think it's the same psychology, and I just throw it away.
It is.
You know, it's easy enough for
Yeah.
me to do that one on one. But if you're receiving
Yes.
tons of garbage all the time,
Hmm.
it's a
And
whole
that
different
is
story.
the thing because it even says in the article Americans have been trained not to throw anything away, but haven't been schooled in how to get rid of items properly. So, where Goodwill certainly and other charity organizations aren't saying don't bring stuff to us anymore, there is just the request that we try to be a little bit more careful because I am positive I've been guilty myself of giving Goodwill that pan that's just missing the handle, but otherwise it's perfectly fine. And it's like, well,
Yeah, I
how's anybody
definitely
going
look
to
at.
use the pan without the handle?
Well, I mean, and sometimes it's questionable. I've definitely had stuff where I'm like, and I've sort of gone back and I've sort of hemmed and hawed like, is this something somebody would buy or is it, it's like real close. If the pan's got a little scratch in it somewhere or something, is like, would somebody buy this with the scratch or is it fine? I don't know, that kind of
Right.
thing. So sometimes you don't know, but I think people bring an awful lot of actual garbage, just like
I
actual, and
think
maybe they don't
so.
think it's garbage, but, yeah, if you, yeah. And, uh, just, there's electronics recycling or whatever, do whatever you have to do to get rid
Hmm.
of, it's not someone else's job to take care of your garbage.
Yep. Yeah. And there are other ways to take care of things. I know sometimes it does get confusing. I personally, and you might have one of these, Ross, have a drawer of cords and electronics that eh,
Oh yeah, everybody
I
has
don't
that.
know what to do with them. Yeah, you have to have like your drawer of cords.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna donate them. I just keep them in my house.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with them. But yeah, there's even for this article they interviewed somebody at the Seabrook location, a Ron Davitt, who pulled up with donations, and it sounds like they kind of asked him to look at what he was donating, and he's like, "Oh, this is in pretty good shape." And he says, "Actually, as I look at this," and he points to a plastic storage unit, he says, "Oh, there's no drawer. I'll probably keep that and throw it away." But then he's got some clothes that are in good condition, and then it's kind of cute. He holds up a brown number with yellow and red trim that is a dog costume. And he says, "This is for our dachshund." He's in the car. Hot dog. And Heather Steve says that dog costumes, if you donate it to them to the Goodwill, if they're in good condition and clean and everything, they'll go within a minute of being on the sales floor.
I believe
So
that.
If you have cute things like that, the Goodwill definitely wants them.
Yeah, very good. I like it.
But yeah, so just a little spring cleaning there.
You want some I'm going to say both of these are good news stories in trans issues. One of them I'm putting a little bit of a spin on, but you want some positive news in the we talk an awful lot. I'm sorry our trans listeners. I think we talk about an awful lot of depressing stuff related to trans issues, but there are a couple good things. So just today, which is might be a couple days before you're listening to this, but the federal government is going to protect gay and transgender people against sex discrimination in health care, which is a reversal of a Trump era policy. The Biden administration has been sort of one at a time knocking down a lot of these Trump administration rules. So the policy announcement by the Department of Health and Human Services affirms that federal laws forbidding sex discrimination in healthcare also protect gay and transgender people. The Trump administration had defined sex, quote unquote, to mean gender assigned at birth, thereby excluding transgender people from the law's umbrella of protection. So that is a very good thing. Discrimination in
That
healthcare
is.
that the Biden administration is making some moves on. So that is good. The American Medical Association also strongly supports this. So, of course, other people, there are people that don't, but we don't need to talk about them because they are poop faces.
Yes, and they're now not making a difference because the policy's been overturned.
The other, I'm gonna call this a good news story. The other positive news story in transgender issues is Caitlyn Jenner is running for governor of California. um, Now, I'll preface this by saying that, again, I'm putting a little bit of a positive spin on this. I'm going to preface this by saying that, yes, no matter how much you don't like Caitlyn Jenner, just a reminder before we go into this, there is no call to misgender or dead name anyone, even if you
Right.
feel like they are not great people. So,
Yep. And I've
I
seen a
wanted to,
lot of that going on, and it is honestly not cool when I see that. We can
yeah,
dislike Caitlyn Jenner for many, many reasons
sure.
and still use Caitlyn's name and still refer to Caitlyn with her pronouns.
So, Caitlyn did an interview with Fox News about her big issues that she's running for. Um, she's concerned that her friend in the private aircraft hangar next to hers is moving out of the state because he's tired of seeing homeless people near his hangar. So that's issue number one that she brought up.
Oh
She doesn't.
man, yeah, when we have the unhoused hanging out around here by my airplane hangar, I gotta
It's
say,
ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah, really, really, lights my matches.
She doesn't believe
That's what
that we
people
should
say.
have.
That's a phrase people say, lights my matches.
Absolutely. That's her new campaign slogan.
Yeah.
um, she doesn't believe in high speed rail because people can just fly. Forest fires have nothing to do with climate change. She's personally responsible for the California governor loosening COVID restrictions, which she never felt should have been there at all. She also doesn't think trans women.
Wow.
She also doesn't think trans women should be allowed to play sports with other women, even though she plays women's golf. Um, I'm bringing all this
Wow,
up as a.
that's some cognitive dissonance right there.
It is.
No trans women
I'm
except for me.
I'm bringing this up, and I'm considering this a positive trans story because like we talk about in like fiction and films and things like that, when we see representations of people where people stop fitting into stereotypes, and you can see, if you see queer people or black people or Puerto Rican people or whatever it is, and you start to see more complex, you can have a villain, it doesn't have to
Mhm.
be, so I think with Caitlyn Jenner, we see that there is a trans woman in America in 2021 who can be as completely clueless and entitled,
Yes.
as any other old white lady. I mean, I think
Uh-huh.
that's a kind of progress, right? Like,
That's a really good spin on it. I was thinking, this kind of along the lines of, see, trans people can have any kinds of views at all, even
yeah,
ones we hate. There's a
even
lot of diversity among the community.
even stupid. I mean, this, oh my God, this interview. And I really want to, you know, all along, I really want to be. I want to, on some level, be supportive of Caitlyn Jenner because we have very few national level trans role models for people. I mean, but again, I do like. I'm mostly kidding, but I do think there is something to be said for the fact that there is a, you know, trans people are not a monolith. They're not all the same. And there
Oh,
can be, it's a good, it's a, it's good to be reminded of that, I guess.
yeah. And maybe this is another one of those situations in which the fact that she's trans is like the least interesting thing about her.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like there is
absolutely. I know.
so much more to talk about. It, I don't care if she's trans. She's woo. Yeah. There's some
Yeah,
stuff going on.
it feels very, yeah, her being trans, it's not incidental, of course, but it sort of feels incidental because like you say, there's so many other things to talk. There's so many other things going on there.
Yeah.
The fact that you lead off the interview about your running for governor with the story about how you saw a homeless person near your private aircraft hangar, and that's why you feel like you need to run for governor. That's
Yeah.
something. That's something else.
Yep.
You know what else is
Yep.
something else? In a good way, in a
Ross,
better way.
this is something else, something other than the sound of tomorrow, some kind of refreshing breath of gorgeous music coming into your ears. Is that the fantastic program Music Matters coming up next on
I st-
WAYO LP Rochester?
I cannot wait.
Me neither.
Yeah, man.
You know, I have never actually had avocado toast. Is there cheese on it?
Ahem. Well, yes, I, of course, being a young person myself, would know all about avocado toast.
Is that your phone? Are you looking this up?
Of course not.
I think you're looking it up, but uh, I don't want to know. I'm putting cheese on it.
Oh my god, and gin?
The gin's on the side.
That's my Heather. You know, it's literally just toast with avocado on it, right? It's not that
I
complicated.
looked up a couple recipes. I want cheese on it. On the
All right,
circle, they're
that's
always
fine.
making it, and it looks like there's cheese.
I don't think that's cheese, but all right, you
I want
you do
cheese.
you.
I
You
need
do
to go
you.
have some cheese. I'm hungry.
I know you are.